I'm Marcella Simon, and this is Designing and Delivering Training. In this lesson, we'll discuss preparing and planning for training, determining what materials you should prepare, and finally, how to deliver training. To prepare, begin with these questions. Who are your learners? How much time do you have? In what type of space will the training be held? First, you need to know your audience. Who are your learners? How well do they know the subject matter? What is their level of education? These factors will determine how challenging to make your presentation. Second, you need to know how much time you have. This will help you organize your material and include breaks and meal times as needed. It is best to have no more than 6 hours of training per day, as it can get tiring for everyone and people need time to absorb information. Lastly, you need to know what the training space looks like, how big it is, and what kind of equipment will be available. Consider if the seating arrangement is suited for activities or group work. It is important to take notes that are visible to the entire group, so you may need to have a chalkboard or flip chart available. What to do in advance to have a successful training session. Decide what your learners need to know. Organize your material. Prepare your slides and handouts. Write tests or quizzes. It is important to decide what you want your learners to know at the end of the session. These are called the learning objectives. For example, if you want the learners to be able to build a house, then that is the primary objective. Learners will need to know many things to reach the primary objective, like how to follow a design and measure and cut materials. These steps are secondary or smaller objectives that will make up the topics of your course outline. When you organize your material into topics and subtopics, it must follow an order that makes sense to the learner. For example, you should not discuss measuring and cutting materials to build a house before you even know what types of materials you need. Plan the order of the topics and assign times to cover each topic. Lectures should not be more than 20 minutes per topic. Remember to add time for breaks, meals, and activities such as discussions and exercises. If you are using slides, try to limit the amount of text. Use as many pictures as possible that relate to the topic. You could also give participants handouts that list steps or details that they can refer to later. For some programs, you may want to give participants tests or quizzes so that they can become certified or to ascertain how much they have learned. Make sure each test question is related to a learning objective or topic. Questions should be clearly worded and truly measure knowledge of the topic. Do not try to confuse the learner with trick questions. How to deliver a training program. Emphasize the topic's relevance. Ask questions. Teach back. Have small group discussions. Summarize at the end, and get feedback. You must engage the learner. How is this topic relevant to their daily lives and work? Adults learn best when they are motivated. Periodically, ask questions of the learners to make sure they understand the presentation. If they are having trouble with the topic, repeat the material in a different way or slow down to make sure everyone is following. If it is just a few people having problems, talk to them after the session. A good technique is to assign learners to demonstrate what they have learned. This is called teach back, and it is useful because you can determine if people are absorbing the material. Participants also retain material better when they teach it to others. Another good technique is to form small groups and give them questions to answer or problems to solve. The small group can then discuss the problem and report their solutions to the other groups. When you finish a topic or subtopic, summarize what you covered and indicate what you will cover next. It helps participants remember what they have learned and how it connects to the course as a whole. Obtain feedback from the participants after the course has ended. What did they like? What was difficult or confusing for them? Take notes and apply what you have learned when you revise the training session at a later date. Following these tips will help ensure success in your training sessions. After you've completed all the units in this course at yali.state.gov, you can test your knowledge and earn a YALI Network certificate.